G'day. You know there's only two types of people in the world, right? Horse lovers and the other kind. If you're a horse lover, you are in the right place. I'm Tony Lander and I want to talk to you about the Equestrian Fast-Track Summit. But before I do that, I want to ask you a question. Would you like to go faster in your horse journey from here to the future? Would you like to go further and faster? That's a good question. Maybe another question. If you went back and redid your horse journey, do you think you could do it faster for you? Could you do it better for you? And here's the real one. Could you do it better for your horse?
This question we asked 18 equestrian experts. My name is Francie Hertelendi and Tony and I gave them following scenario. They're traveling back in a time machine to find their younger self with all of their knowledge, experience and expertise, to then have 5 years to coach their younger self through to expert status.
So we asked the experts to present a 6 to 12 point framework or strategies that they would use to fast track themselves in their own journey if they redid it again. That is, not themselves, but their younger self. So they're coaching their younger self through to expert status. So we asked, would they do something different than they did? Would they be able to prevent going down dead ends? Would they be able to keep on track even better than what they did on their own journey? These are the things that we asked.
We have experts from all over the world, from areas like dressage, jumping, working equitation, horsemanship, riders fitness and many more. And the great thing is, they didn't present all of the same strategies. Some talked about topics like vision, the big why, authentic self, defining what does success mean to you, doing self-development, meditation, finding a mentor, priorities and principles, and there's so much more value.
So I just want to be really clear. This summit is not about horse training. It's not about pushing the horse. It's not about getting the horse faster to a point. Horses take time. It's about the expert, how they would train themselves or how they would coach you if you could get them to do that for you. So if you want to increase the speed of your journey from here on, if you want to go further and you want to go faster, you should watch these presentations by these 18 experts. There are 6 presentations on each of 3 days in the summit, and it's free. You can find out how to get there, what things you should concentrate on, what you should look at, how you can develop yourself. It's all about how you can go faster. So what follows is some really short extracts of some of the speakers' presentations for you to enjoy and just get the snippets and the gems from the presentations. And then when you're ready, get registered so you can see the whole presentations on the 14th to the 16th of September.
Define success, know what success is to you, and probably if I was to go back and talk to me, I'd say just make sure that you're understanding what success is. It's not necessarily rich and famous, and probably the thing that I would say is make sure you know why you're doing what you're doing. So, you know, in the different things that Tony asked me to think about was books that I've read, coaches that have helped me. And I think one of the things that's really helped keep me on track when I've been off track is was Start With Why. It's a Simon Sinek book. But to ask myself, do you know why you're doing what you're doing? Because if you just set your goal on becoming rich and famous and popular like the person that you might choose to follow, it might, when you get there, or even if you get near there, you might start thinking, hang on, this is not all it's cut out to be.
Developing a support system can really boost your career path. And if you have the right friends, the right relationships, and the right, especially romantic relationships, finding the right partner for you can really, really boost your career path. If you have friends that believe in you, that support you in your career, that can make a huge difference. And we all know that being in the horse world saps everything you have. It takes all your money, it takes all your time, it takes all of your everything that you have. And so on top of that, if you have friends that aren't supportive, or a loved one that isn't invested in your career, or people who say negative things about your ability, or worse, people who are jealous of you and trying to interfere with your relationship, that can really take your career down into the dumps. So if you have, after you've gone through your therapy and you know how to develop good relationships, if you have a good support system, your loved ones support you and believe in you, that can really boost your confidence.
And a mentor, or someone that we can learn from. And that can happen in a lot of different ways, but it would be, I think I would make it a higher priority. I know for young Ben, as you say, I would make that more of a higher priority earlier on, because it's exponential growth right there that's possible in those settings.
But if you're going to be an example of how to handle stress and how to handle challenging moments, that to me is a superior example and teaching moment than releasing when the horse did the thing. You know, obviously, if we did that consistently, our horses would get to where they would learn the thing. But I think that generally what I've come to know is that horses care much more about how you handle them, not necessarily what you do, which is again where my approach has become not very discipline specific, because it's about calm minds and then correct movements by the horse's natural biomechanics.
It often is because they never sat down and said, what do I really want? And I think now more than ever, with the internet and the ability to study from lots of different people, you really can create your own vision. It's not just go to the barn and end up competing, right? That's what everybody's in my world. Everybody's dream is, oh, I'm going to do dressage, I'm going to compete, because that's what we do. And one of the biggest things that I think brought me to where I am is I completely changed the track I was on, because I realized, wait, I don't really want to be a judge. I mean, I like being a judge, but I don't really want to sit in the box every weekend. And so when I could sit down and go, right now, what's my goal? Where's it heading me? That allowed me to course correct and help me stay on target. So that's got to be number one, is decide what is your goal for now.
Better understanding of how horses learn. I hear, a lot of people say I only use positive reinforcement. And I sort of have my doubts about that, especially when you see someone sitting on a horse saying they only use positive reinforcement, or somebody with a head collar on a horse saying, oh, I only use positive. I'm like, no, you don't. And there's a major problem with not understanding which of the operant conditioning quadrants you're using. There really is, because if you don't understand that you're using negative reinforcement and pressure release, then you're not going to be releasing at the right time. So that person who says, I only use positive reinforcement, gets on the horse and puts their leg on, they're probably not going to release the leg at any time that makes any sense for the horse at all. Whereas if you only put your leg on because you're wanting to change something in the horse and you release it when that changes, then you're actually going to be training your horse quite sensibly and with a lot of thought. The horse will make a lot of sense to the horse. Horses are great pattern learners.
We have this kind of concept that we have to prove our worth as equestrians, and the only way to do that is to not say no, to ride any horse that's given to us. It doesn't matter if it's a green horse or a crazy horse or whatever the horse is, because usually in the industry people, they pay you to ride the difficult horses. They pay you to ride the horses that they don't really feel like riding or dealing with. So I think it would have saved me a whole lot of injuries, a whole lot of hospital visits, a whole lot of, back pains or whatever, if I would have just said no. And if I would have realized that I don't have to prove myself by riding the naughty ones. Okay. Yes, you can learn something about working with green horses or different types of horses, but actually that path is not a path you have to take in order to learn. And I've seen lots of high-level riders and coaches that they don't ride the naughty ones, okay? They ride the nice ones. So yeah, learn to say no, learn to stick up for yourself. You don't have to prove yourself.
Is that a lot of what we do with humans actually applies to horses as well, because our emotions are really not all that different. Even though they're prey animals and we can be called predators, they still experience pain and joy and anxiety and fear and happiness and all of those pieces. So when we think about people and if we think about ourselves, we can actually apply a lot of that to horses. So we can really step into our horses' hooves and start to relate to them a little bit better.
Another thing I would teach myself earlier is a better understanding for the biodynamics of the horse. So one thing that happens in horse life very often is a kind of centrifuging the horse on a circle. So the horses will be pushed out of balance. They run in a circle like a motorbike laying on one side on the shoulder. And I would prevent myself in doing these kinds of mistakes, like pushing the horse on the inside shoulder. I would try to find a balance between gymnastic exercises and the joy of playing, because it's important. One part is important to be mental correct to the horse. It is important to have fun in playing with the horse, to have all things are games. But the other thing is we need healthier movements to get also in balance. So playfulness, yes. Variety, yes. Impulsion, yes. But please also healthier movements.
Taking yourself through those programs, self-help programs. I've done a lot of those types of programs and had life coaches and mentors to work me through me, get me working better. And then miraculously, my horses started being better. Go figure. Crazy. That's been the biggest result for me, is the more I could focus and work on me, the better results I got with the horses. So a little quote we have here at the ranch is that the better you are at handling horses, the better horses you will handle.